Good morning, my lovely students. Hope you are doing fine at home, safe, but also learning and studying, not just doing nothing. Today's lesson actually is continuation for the American history, but just as a recap or a review for what has been covered before, so you catch up. Just let's check this map. What is this map? It's the map of the world. As you can see, this is Africa. What is this? Asia, Europe, and North America and South America. And what do we have here? Australia. Okay, you probably all of you know this. So what are the objectives of today? Okay, we'll just do the recap and then mention about the objectives. Last time we spoke about how the Americans, or who are the Americans actually, how did they come here, and who are the Red Indians or the Native Americans, from where did they come, and who are the first immigrants after the discovery of Christopher Columbus. So just as a recap, before 1400, the whole world, or the people, thought that there are just 3 continents in the world, and that's all. No other continents. We have, what is this? Where we are living? Yes, it's Africa. This is what? Where we have China, Japan, Afghanistan, Russia. It's Asia, and we have Europe there. So they thought that that's the world and no other countries or continents and whatever. So that's what they believed. This was before 1400. And please take notes for each and everything I say. And by the way, you can repeat it. So this is one of the good advantages actually of online learning. A guy called Christopher Columbus. And actually, before speaking about Christopher Columbus, that around 1400, 1500, the European countries became more advanced. They became secular. They focused more on science and inventions and technologies, new technologies. So they excelled suddenly. Around 1400, 1500, this era was called the Enlightenment Age. What is it called? Enlightenment Age, yes, excellent. So during this Enlightenment Age, or the age also which is called the Age of Exploration, some European countries decided to explore the world, to discover the world. And mainly, they wanted to find some new ways to reach Asia, especially India and China, so they can trade with. The usual way which they were using is this way. For example, you are in Italy here, and you want to go to Asia. There was nothing called Suez Canal. So you had to go here by the ship and go like this all around Africa and then go like this. It's a very frustrating long trip. So they decided, some explorers wanted to discover a new route to this Asia. Europeans wanted to discover a new route to Asia. By luck, a guy called Christopher Columbus, who was an explorer, and he was sponsored. He is Italian, but was sponsored by Spain. This guy decided to, instead of going up or down, north or south, he decided to go west. And he finds some islands there. He was surprised. This island, I've never heard about it before. And it's not mentioned on any maps. So he delivered back the information to the queen or the king of Spain. Then the Spanish emperor decided, yes, you can go again. So he went again, he discovered new land. So this news spread all over Europe. So all the European countries, especially Spain, Portugal, France, and United Kingdom, the strongest, powerful empires at that time, around 1500. So Spain and Portugal decided to go south, and they settled down there and built their own colonies. United Kingdom and France in the north, in this area, which was not called anything actually. Later on, it got called, or it got named the Americas, and they had fights over this land. So mainly, if I ask a question now, if you are very good in focusing, so who discovered this new land? Think about it. Christopher Columbus, yes, excellent. Which countries colonized this new land? This part and this one. Who? Spain, Portugal, yes, they went south, and in the north, United Kingdom, and what else? France, yes, excellent. Did they come alone? No, they did not come alone. They brought with them African slaves. They captured them or bought them and brought them here or there to work for them, because not enough people went to the unknown. Imagine yourself living during this age and you heard some news that there is a new land, but it's very far away. You will get some gold and you will get some land, but would you go there? I think not. Most of the people answered no. So they needed some people to work for them. And African countries, I'm talking here about South African countries. Yes, of course, the North African countries also used to or had slaves, but mainly the Europeans brought slaves from South African countries, or South Africans who were sold here. Anyway, so Europeans and African slaves. However, when the Europeans and Africans went there, they found already some people, some tribes. They were not that civilized, they were not that strong and powerful, but they found some people there. Mainly they were hunters and gatherers, like they collect fruits and vegetables from whatever. They were not farmers mainly. So they found some tribes there. One smart person will ask me, but from where did those Native Americans or those native settlers or the originals of North and South America come from? The story can be 20,000 years ago. This part, 20,000 years ago, 18,000 BC, this part actually was connected to each other. Why? Because it was Ice Age, the last Ice Age humans witnessed. This part was one. So some Asians, some scientists believe that, according to the theories, that Asians lived on this part and also they came from here to there. And what is the proof? The proof that the genes of those Native Americans or the Red Indians, which we have still some of them here and in South America, actually they have Asian genes. So how did they come? Probably, according to science, they came through this land bridge. So they came there, the Europeans, and they found the Native Americans. Of course, they resisted them. This is our land. You cannot take our lands. And of course, they fought against them for a lot of years, for 300 or 400 years even. But at the end, who won the war? The Europeans. Whether the Europeans here or the Europeans, Spanish and Portuguese here. Okay, so let's get back to the book and see this. So as you can see here, the history of the United States involved many different cultures: Native Americans, Europeans, and which are Asians actually, and the Africans. And this is the part which I was talking about this, that the Americas and Asia were one part. during the last 20,000 years ago, as you can see here. It was during the last ice age, people migrated from Asia to this Americas. And we know that, please take notes of what I'm saying. This will be included in your quizzes or exams or whatever. And anyway, you will have homeworks on this. So focus. If you are writing down notes down now, it will be easier for you during your homework, quizzes, or exam. The first colonies were around 1,500, as we mentioned. And why did they come? This is a very important question. Please write this down. Why people or Europeans sacrificed their own life in England and France and Spain and Portugal? They were living safely. Why did they sacrifice their own lives, passing through the ocean for 2 months in the ocean, in the sea? A lot of boats, a lot of ships sank in this ocean, by the way, not only Titanic. A lot of people died crossing this. However, they wanted to go there. So why? Why all of this? Why the Europeans migrated to this new land? Why? Because of two things. Because of gold and land. This is one thing, gold and land, which is money. And the second thing, which is religious freedom. And please highlight this in your books as well, so it will help you while studying. Two reasons: gold and land, which is money, and the second thing, religious freedom. What does it mean, religious freedom? Let me tell you about this. Religious freedom, as we were speaking about, actually, Christians were divided, or got divided into different sects, different groups by around 1,300, 1,500. Those pilgrims, people who are traveling for religious reasons. Those pilgrims in front of us, of course, it's not a real footage, it's just a painting. For the first pilgrims or the first immigrants from Europe to this new land, they got persecuted, they got treated violently by the Church of England. They themselves, they said, we don't want to belong to this English church anymore, because they are not real true Christians. They are not following the Bible as it should be. They were actually a little bit strict. The first immigrants to the Americans were actually extremely strict, not just very strict. So of course the English people did not like them so much, so they felt that we are not treated in a good way. We must leave. We must find another way. Maybe this new land is a message from God to go there and have our own life there, far away from those non-believers, as they even believe. So 3 reasons again why the Europeans migrated: gold, land, and religious freedom. Okay? By the time the colonies became more and more and more and more, and most of the colonies are related to what? Or are connected to what? To UK, yes, and to France. In 1763, Great Britain defeated France. They crushed the French, who actually found some kind of alliance with the Indians, the Native Americans, but they defeated them. And they claimed this new France, which is Canada. Actually, its first name was not, where is this Google map? The first name for Canada actually was New France. Okay? So the British were able to defeat the French and claimed New France, which later got called Canada, to themselves. And of course, during any war, even the country which wins, they loses a lot of money, loses a lot of resources for feeding the soldiers, for supporting them, for armory. Not only the country which loses a war loses money, both of them lost. So Great Britain wanted to pay off the debts, get back the money which they lost during this war against Great Britain, against France, and the Indians. The Americans, or the colonizers, the British colonizer, because it was not called United States of America, the British colonizers said, no, I'm sorry, we are not going to pay anything for Great Britain. We do the hard job. We hunt, we gather, we farm, we log, we mine, and you take everything. No, it's enough. We are going to create our new nation. Of course, this was definitely unacceptable for Great Britain. So they decided to start a war. With whom? British against British. Yes, they are British. The Americans originally were British. So British against the new British, or they call themselves now the United States, the Americans, and they declared their country as the United States of America. This is what we are going to check right now. Let's see here. So the war started in which year? Highlight these dates. Please take down notes. In 1775, the Revolutionary War began. After 1 year, the founding fathers, those guys here, the founding fathers, they are the first to write down a document which is called the Declaration of Independence, declaring United States has nothing to do with Great Britain. So they declared their independence after 1 year. The war continued for more years, and it finished in 1783 by the loss of the Great Britain. Can you imagine this? Great Britain, which conquered 1/4 of the world, was defeated by just a new nation. Yes, they are British, but they are just new. They are not that organized and powerful. And this was a very strong hit to the British Empire. So anyways, in 1775, the Revolutionary War started. They declared independence. Who are the founding fathers? Write down these questions, please. In which year the war ended? 1783. Okay? And by the way, a good question, and I'm sure that one of you knows this. Who is the first American president? Anyone knows? Yes, you know. George Washington. Okay? George Washington. Okay, guys. So now we are going to, and by the way, at the beginning, I need you to check carefully this map. It's extremely important. The first pilgrims, or the first immigrants, European immigrants to this new land, they just settled here only, and they formed 13 colonies. USA at the beginning was just this part. Can you imagine this? Later on, they went with actually the history of US till now, actually wars. A decade cannot pass without a war, as you can see from throughout history till now. So how many colonies started first? Just 13. By time they bought some lands, as you can see here from France, they bought Alaska. This is Alaska, let's check, which is a very big mistake, I believe, made by the Russians. This was a Russian land. The Americans bought this land. This land is not part of Canada. This land is part of United States. Alaska was bought from the Russians during the 20th century. Alaska was bought from Russia. This is not the only land United States bought. They bought this part from France. They defeated the British in other regions, so they got this land as well. They defeated the Mexicans, or the Spanish. And later, when Mexico declared its independence, also they took it from Mexico. Here, this Texas actually decided, no, we don't want to be with this Mexico. We want to be part of the United States. So, as you can see now, all this part or most of this part actually was bought or conquered by just the original 13 colonies. Okay, this is the part. So what is the manifest destiny? Very important thing the Americans believe in. And I believe actually any strong, powerful nation must believe in this manifest destiny, that you believe that your country is not just limited by its territory or borders. No, we have to control other parts and other lands. This is how USA is very powerful. They interfere in each and every situation in the world. And all the time they are thinking about, we need more parts to be a part of USA. This is how they are. So the same like the Russians as well. And the Chinese and any other nation which wants to be the best. So the manifest destiny is the idea that the United States should own all the land between and even some beyond after the ocean, not just between should own the land between the oceans, like here and here, which means Canada and Mexico and down, no, or even beyond the oceans. So this is the American dream or the manifest destiny. Okay. Few seconds, just repeat what we have said before we go to the second part, which is very important and very interesting as well, which is the American Civil War. The Americans killing each other. Yes, they were killing first the British, their relatives and their own country. They were fighting with their own country, Great Britain. Now they are killing themselves. We will check what's going on here, but just have a quick look or just repeat the last part before we pass or we go to the next one.